So the general scope of this bond project is to basically replace the K-6 elementary school by adding on to the north side of the existing high school building. I think some of the biggest aspects of that is getting our entire student body in one campus. Allows us probably to be more efficient with personnel. Currently right now we have personnel that has to travel back and forth between the high school and the grade school, and that's just not a good use of time. I think a couple of the big advantages of getting everybody in one campus, we're going to be able to build a single secure entrance. One of the biggest needs that we hear all the time from our patrons is school safety. That will help alleviate some of the issues there. We will also have 2 classrooms that will be concrete lined, which will actually act as a security shelter for the entire student body if needed.
It'll be on one level, new building, energy efficient, everything down one hallway. It'll be connected to the high school. We can reduce busing kids back and forth. Principal situations will be easier. One principal could handle the whole building for K through 12 possibly, or we'll look at things to reorganize there. It helps the high school a great deal. The elementary cannot move without a PE building, so we need to build a gymnasium. So this relieves the problem of having only one gym at the high school by having a secondary gym for practice. It just gets everything to one building that makes it so much easier to handle and more efficient.
Having everyone centrally located, I think as a high school teacher you may not teach a kindergartner, but you know by the time they get to you, you'll know nuances about them and be able to welcome them into your class and hopefully further their learning. I think it also helps with last minute substitutions, having everybody close, just having the whole staff available to step up when help is needed.
You're putting everything into one building, K through 12. Over the long term, it's going to cheapen up the cost to run the school. You know, right now, but busing all of the elementary kids over for lunch every day, it's been done, but it's something that maybe it can be a savings down the road.
One of the main issues for me is only having one gym for either practices or performances. So if with this bond we would have a second gym in the building on the elementary side that we could use for practices. If a middle school game is going on, they could still be practicing in the other gym, or if it's a regular day, boys could be practicing in one gym, girls in another for, say, basketball. The kids will have more time to be at home, doing their homework, or just being able to decompress for a while. Their schedules are so crazy.
As a parent, I can see what my daughter is going through being in the high school. Last year, she would have to wait till the middle school games were over before they could start a basketball practice, which meant then that they wouldn't even start until 8 or 9 o'clock, which meant that she wouldn't be getting home until 10 or 11, which meant then she could start her homework then for the next day, you know, wouldn't start till midnight.
So when it comes to paying for this school bond, we are very aware of the tax concerns of our patrons. We understand what kind of challenges increases in property taxes, cause, what effect they have on everybody's household budget. That's why we're going to actually be looking at this bond in two different ways. Some of you will see 2 questions on the ballot. If you're outside of the city of La Crosse, you will see only one question, voting to approve a bond with a certain amount of mills attached to it for a duration of time. If you're in the city of La Crosse, you're going to see a second ballot question that asks you to support a 1% general sales tax. That 1% general sales tax, a large portion of that will then go to help paying for the school bond debt. What this will actually do in turn is reduce the overall mill levy for the bond by upwards of 4 mil. That is a significant amount over the duration of the bond. This is one way that makes this project even more affordable for all of our district patrons.
The facility committee had a bond vote with a bunch of facilities for around 15 million. COVID put it on pause for 2 years. When we revisited that exact same plan, in 2 years the cost had jumped from 15 million to 19 million. Kicking the can down the road is only going to increase the cost of a new building. Not going to get cheaper ever. So if we put this off any longer, we feel like the cost is just going to become higher and higher and to a point where we can't afford it.
So somebody asked me, why is now a good time to pass the bond? I don't know if that's really the right question. I've been on the school board for 18 years. Everybody tells me every time we start talking about a bond issue, now's not a good time, now's not a good time. I do know though, a better time to pass this bond would have been 30 years ago. It was even a good time 15 years ago to pass this bond. Heck, 5 years ago was even a better time to pass this bond. The point I'm making is, if we don't do it now, we keep pushing this down the road, we're gonna look back and say, we should have passed that bond at that point in time. When somebody goes, is it a good time to pass the bond? I don't know necessarily if it is, but I do know it's the right time to pass the bond.
I would encourage any person who is maybe on the fence or even is saying, no, we don't need this, call up, ask us, we can take you through the old elementary school building and you will see just, the disrepair that it is in. We really do, as a board, have the kids' best interests at heart. This is about doing what is best for our kids, what is going to make them safe, what is going to make things more cohesive for all of them and give them more learning time.